I was pretty serious, I think. Pretty serious. I did very well in school. Teachers always complain that I read books other than what I have to.
So you were a nerd, is it?
A bookworm, yes.
A bookworm.
Yeah, a bookworm, yes. And I noticed that some of my grandchildren are following after me. I have one particular grandchild who just take a book and then sit around by himself in a corner. So I suppose that it's infectious, I suppose.
Nervous, happy?
Well, I have been involved in, I think I've been elected 10 times, I think. Yeah, about 10 times. So elections are nothing new to me. And of course I was very nervous in my first election. I was only about 34 at that time, I think. And now, of course, this will be my 11th one. So I take it in my own stride. No need to be too excited about it, but you ought to be careful also. But I have confidence that we'll carry the day. The internal conflict does not affect PBB, the biggest component party. It does not affect PRS. It only affects SUPP and SPDP. So I expect to be able to resolve the matter either way before nomination day. But my approach is winnability. If the candidate is winnable, choose him better. There is no point to choose a candidate from a component party and then lose, just to please the party, and then lose. What is the point? I mean, the main thing about the election is to win. I don't look forward to three-corner or even four-corner fight because the vote will split and opposition can win even with 35% of the vote. So I would encourage them to agree on the seats, agree on the candidate, and then give your full support to them so that it will be a one-to-one. You see, in the old days, I mean 20, 30 years ago, it doesn't really matter because the third candidate would be some stupid independent who will probably earn a few votes but lose his deposit. So even if A and B were to fight against each other, C cannot get in because C will lose his deposit. So, but that is not the case now. You have the DAP, we have PKR and so on, which are established political parties. So, as far as possible, we'll try to avoid independent three-corner fight. I have always been liberal in my views. I've always been open-minded and so on. And I believe in people giving free expression to what they believe in. I've always believed in that. And not just in the last few years. That has always been my approach to life all these many years.
But when you say that, do you have the
election or no election? No? Election or no election. Okay. You can look at my record before election years ago. I've always been very liberal. Okay. And I don't mind being called a liberal, I don't mind. I value life more than I used to because at one time I was near death, yes. And because of that experience, you appreciate life more.
How was the experience of near-death experience?
Sorry?
How was your experience near-death?
I mean, at that time, I called all my grandchildren, all my family, been called to my bed already. So they came over from England and from Perth and so on. And when you call your family, around you, you know what that means, lah. But God is great.
God wasn't calling you.
Yeah, could be, I don't know, but God is great, and here I am. This is not a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It's how I feel genuinely, not a gimmick. And I don't believe in it only just now. I've always believed in it all this time. I don't know whether it's related to that, but I think, as you see, I'm not claiming it for myself. If I'm popular, that's because my policies are resonant with what the people feel. That's what I believe in, anyway. Religion is not an issue in Sarawak. Has never been an issue in Sarawak. Cultural differences has never been an issue. In fact, there is an Indonesian phrase, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity. We are a diverse people, but we are united. And we don't carry heavy weight about religious differences and so on. Not here, lah. When I've lived in this country for 70 years, I've yet to find people with extreme differences. And that is why I don't like extremists and bigots and so on to come over here, because they will just spread poison. So if the things are good, leave it alone. There's an English saying, if the car is good, don't try to fix it. Leave it alone. I cannot deny that there is some degree of provincialism. I mean, after all, we are separated from West Malaysia by the sea, so geographically also. And perhaps our historical experiences are quite different. So there is some degree of provincialism, and in recognition of that, Sarawak was given autonomy under the terms of the Malaysia Agreement. Now, I say Umno is not acceptable here because in Sarawak, when you talk about Bumi Putra, you mean Malay, Malanau, Iban, Bidayuh, Orang Ulu, and all the various nearly 30 over tribes and so on. In Semenanjung, when you talk about Bumi Putra, it's 99% Malay. So I cannot adapt that sort of attitude here. So you must have some degree of provincialism. And it worked. Over the years, it worked. And when somebody tried to bring Umno here, most of the candidates lose their deposit. So there's evidence for you. It's not like we don't like Umno, no. But there is already Umno in Sarawak, except the name is different. And we don't want the Malays in Sarawak, who constitute only 1/4 of the population, to be isolated from the rest. So it's all right to be in West Malaysia because Malays are in the majority, especially in Terengganu, Kelantan, etc., etc. But here we are a minority. So we must get on well with the other Bumi Putras. And we have been got on very well in all these years. So why change the picture? And also, if you reject a West Malaysian party which originates from Malaysia, West Malaysia, like UMNO, you ought also to reject DAP, which is originated from West Malaysia, or PKR, or yeah, that's right, another West Malaysian-based party. Because who knows about Sarawak more than Sarawakians? I don't claim to know more about Negeri Sembilan, simply because I don't know. But I know a little bit about Sarawak. Lah. So who knows better than us? Better Sarawak, more than Sarawakians themselves. Yes, I think last two elections, the DAP beat SUPP because they are not happy with SUPP, especially the Chinese, the urban Chinese. They are not happy with SUPP for whatever reason. There's so many reasons, but that is the reason. But if SUPP were able to change itself, adopt its old policies, original policies, then perhaps the Chinese will come back. Because that is the original Chinese-based party in Sarawak. But they have to change some of their approaches. But as long as they are under the control of the old school, which is no longer in control now, they will continue to be rejected by especially the Chinese community. Well, we are not going to write off the Chinese support here, no.
You have hope?
I believe the Chinese community in Sarawak have wisdom enough to see what is right and what is wrong, and what can be done and what cannot be done. And one of them is for SUPP, which is Chinese-based party, to change its ways, adopt to modern times. And I think they're trying to do that. The new leadership of SUPP consists mainly of young people now. The old heads have retired. So to that extent, they can present a challenge to DAP.